What is it that you enjoy most with photography? What is it that makes you feel alive, makes you feel excited and inspired? Have you really thought about it? Or are you just chasing your tail, or maybe you've hit a plateau and just feeling uninspired altogether? In this video, I want to share with you what really inspires me. We're going to talk about composition, we're going to talk about challenging subject matter, and most importantly, staying true to yourself with your photography. Let's go. How do you do justice to something that is just taking your breath away in every direction, awe-inspiring? I think I can see some really good cascades 100 meters up. We'll try and make our way to that if we can get over there. This is the Fiordland that I love. There's nothing like it. Nowhere like it. Alright, we've got a good junction up here of cascades. I think the rain's coming back, so I'll drop the bag. We're going to cross over the main river, and there's a tributary there that forks out. Some green grasses in the front. Let's see what we can do. The atmosphere is perfect, and the cloud in the sky is great because it's not just white, it has tones, some dark gradients in there. That's so essential. Oh man, this is a great little spot.
Because it's the middle of the day, it is quite bright, and if I want to get a slow shutter for my water, I'm finding that the sky is overexposing. So to get around that, I'm just bracketing, doing a slow shutter for the water and then a faster frame for the rest of the landscape. I can then just blend that slow shutter water into the frame later on. You could also just put an ND filter on, but I just prefer to quickly bracket, and if I need to, I'll just blend in the slow shutter water in post. In the landscape, I'm often looking for some interesting elements to add into the foreground. This creates depth, and it also just breaks up all the dark tones that I have in the riverbed here for the rocks. So obviously these green plants are ideal, although they can be a little messy, and one of the challenges is if there's an imbalance. And in this case, I've got the plant on the left but nothing on the right hand side. So ideally I look for nice balance in the composition when I can. And yeah, sometimes these plants can be messy just because they have lines going absolutely everywhere.
Beautiful day for a walk. Woo! Wow, that's humbling. If there's one place that I'm at home with photography, it's here. In these conditions, it's obviously not easy, but this is where I really get in a true flow state and just love it. Thriving. This is where I feel it. I'm looking for interesting angles of the mountains, just like that. And then compelling cascades, preferably with some greenery around, just like here. See, that's all flowing towards that peak. Greens either side, just to bring it to life. Lots going on. Mountains are alive. Gonna jump in the big cascade here, look back towards beautiful peaks. You always got to be ready for a downpour as well out here. Just because it stops briefly doesn't mean it's going to be stopped for long. So you got to enjoy the little windows while you get them. That looks phenomenal back there. You got to let the atmosphere dictate which way you shoot. Let's get these grasses in the foreground. Beautiful peak, atmosphere. It'll be gone soon, the way the cloud works. Got a beautiful natural little frame here. Clean up the messy stuff. Go for a walk, get closer to some of these big falls. I've never gone this far over to the base of the mountain. Curiosity's getting the better of me. Sometimes a walk like this, well, generally a walk like this from a distance seems incredibly achievable, and then once you start, you're humbly reminded that nothing comes easy. Oh, this is pretty much neck high now. What have I thought? The terrain in these valleys is just, it's pretty much old glacial moraine, so you have a lot of boulders, lots of ups and downs, plenty of hidden surprises, so you really need to be careful, especially in the vegetation, because you can just suddenly drop down. The hard part is not getting distracted on your way to your potential destination or composition, because you know what will happen is suddenly things will get really picturesque and you're like, oh, I gotta shoot, but you'll never get to the best comp then. You just got to stick to your guns, try and get to what you're aiming for. I'm curious to get up to the base of one of these falls. I've never gone up to the base of the peak here. I'm wondering if we can get an interesting shot of the triple, quadruple waterfalls layering down. Only potential issue I see there is the perspective is tilted and looking up, which is quite hard to pull off. Otherwise, I'm wondering if I can use the base of a fall in the foreground and get that amazing peak behind us on the other side of the valley as the subject matter. All right, here we go, making some progress now. And let's not forget, I've left the bag. The bag is way back on the other side of the main river, which, you know, I've only got a 12 to 24. I'm just hoping I don't feel like I need anything tighter. Maybe for looking up at the waterfalls, it could have been beneficial to have 35, but it is what it is. Now we've got a nice little highway here now. I think the birds are confused. They probably don't get too many visitors up here. Oh, look back there. Wow. A couple of falls to choose from. Trying to find the one that looks most likely for me to use the fall in the foreground looking back behind us. I'm trying to pre-visualize how that could be. We'll cross over to the creek, make our way up to this one. Incredibly humid day. Sweating under this jacket. Oh man, this is humbling, eh? The main thing that could shut us down is if the peak behind just disappears, which I'm sure it will at some stage. There is so many foreground options up here to use the waterfall in the front, that triangular peak in the back. The jackpot here is torrential rain followed by the clearing. You got to time it. Not easy. Today we've got it. So you get the waterfalls, which only exist after heavy rain, and then no rain, which makes it so much easier to shoot, especially if there's 12 to 24. I'm running now because the peak behind looks fantastic. Look. Oh. "30 feet. Here's a peak. Insane. Look at that. Woo! Oh. Now you feel exposed. We've got to get up into some of these greens to make it more interesting in the foreground. Slow and steady. Lost for words. Let's get this done. So I've just captured a series of exposures utilizing the foreground here as a vertical comp, but then for a bit more impact I decided to zoom in at 24, just isolate the 4 with the peak, and that might be a good Patino crop as well. I'm curious to head up behind and just see if I can get another perspective looking down this particular section. Coming up's the easy part, coming down is a whole different ballgame. Oh, we're gonna try go up though, up and over. Similar theory now, just potentially a nicer angle that flows better. The peak looks unreal. Just experimented with various comps here, retreating and getting some more greens in the frame. We've got some rain coming up the valley now, look at that, or a cloud anyway. Probably pass over relatively fast, but I think we'll just start to descend. You know, being out here today, it's reminded me so much the importance of photographing subject matter which truly speaks to you, that truly stirs emotion inside of you, whatever emotion that may be. Don't try and photograph what you think others want to see, what you think might get you attention. You won't be fulfilled doing that. If you keep pursuing places and moments in time which are what causes you to feel alive and joy and reverence and all those things we channel into our photography, you will be content, you'll be fulfilled, and you will have a much longer journey with your photography. It'll be a lifelong art and form of expression instead of just a temporary fix. So ask yourself that question. What makes you feel alive? What gets you excited? What is it that stirs something inside you? For me, it's here. I just I don't have words for it. And the photography is the attempt at expressing what I feel, what I see, and what I enjoy. Let me know what it is for you in the comments. I want to hear about it. We can help all of us as a community here to stay inspired, to stay motivated. I want to thank you guys for your support. So the question is, are we going to find the camera bag? Somewhere that direction. It is fogged over so much now. It's one of the bad habits of mine, putting the camera down and just getting overly excited out in the field and just leaving it behind. At least we put the rain cover on. What a difference, eh? Look how fogged over that is now. The clouds just filled the valley, and it can happen fast. I'm so thankful that we had that window there of inspiration. The hardest part is committing to a walk like that, knowing that at any minute it can just shut you down. So I'm so glad you just get curious, so you want to follow that curiosity. So I'm glad we not only followed the curiosity, but we were rewarded in this occasion as well. It was just fantastic. Back down on the main branch of the river, looking for that camera bag now. I think it's time to head home, have a warm shower and a coffee. There she is. Hardly a drop on her. Perfect.
Welcome back, guys. Thanks so much for joining me out there. It's actually been about 2 months since that shoot, and I've only just sat down the last couple of days to look at the raw files. Just been so busy the last few months. One of the positives of giving it that long to look at the files means that I've really just eliminated any preconceived ideas, and I'm able to look at the raw files way more objectively and not force anything. Sometimes when you still have that emotion attached to the shoot, you might force an image and maybe go overboard on the processing, and you're just wasting your time. So I was able to run through the raws and pretty much pull out what I thought were the best. And I've got 3 images which I'm hanging on to. I'll put them on the website hopefully soon, and they made it into the video as you would have seen. So I had this perspective here, the vertical frame, which is probably one of my favorites, and why I really walked up to that point anyway, was trying to achieve something like that. We'll talk about these in a moment. Went for this horizontal perspective, looking back across to the main mountain, and then this tighter, more minimalist frame as well, which I felt was different enough from the first vertical frame that we had. Now, when it comes to the rest of the files, you would have noticed out in the field, I was just walking, shooting, exploring. That's how I love to shoot. If you've seen my videos before, I'm pretty big on that. I just get in the flow and just shoot what I see and just keep moving. Don't sit on anything for too long. It's quite a lot of frames here in the raws because I was doing bracketing. So that was purely because of this scenario where I mentioned earlier, if I wanted the water at a specific speed, let's say 1/3 of a second, which is what this is, you will notice that the sky is completely blown out and highlights not recoverable. So in this case, you could put a neutral density filter on, which will help darken everything down, allowing you to get a slow shutter without overexposing the sky. Or you can do what I did, where I basically put it in bracketing mode and shot a faster frame that was darker. And that one, like this one here, so this will be 1/13. This has all the details in there. Everything's completely fine as far as the data goes in the histogram, but maybe I just didn't think the water was slow enough. So then I could just manually mask, it would take about 30 seconds, mask in the water from the other frame. That's one way to get around it. You can use a neutral density filter, nothing wrong with that. I just can't be bothered, and I just don't like carrying more gear, different lenses, different filters, etc. So I just use the bracketing. Pretty rare for me to ever do that. Often our cameras, they can handle the dynamic range, but in this case it just struggled being midday and a relatively bright sky. Some of the other frames which I was working with, so there's a lot of focus stacks here, tighter perspectives, different foregrounds, and horizontal frames. The reason why I didn't end up keeping the horizontals, so let's have a look at this one for example, I just felt like there was way too much depth or distance, between our subject matter. I felt like the eye had to really travel along from left, middle to the right, a bit of a gap, and primarily one of the downsides I found was this lower right hand corner. Just wasn't enough going on down there, and I just found it to be a bit of a void. So of course going vertical helped tidy that up, and it just meant that I had to walk around and eventually find some different foreground in order to get that mountain closer to the waterfall, so I didn't have that expansive gap. So I ended up keeping this frame here. Huge depth of field, but I didn't need to focus stack. I would have anyway, but when I got home I realized that I had the depth in a single frame. It would have been about f16 or even f18. So this frame here as well, I just love the power, the majesty, but particularly the atmosphere. I've tried to shoot this perspective a few times over the years. It's really hard to get the visibility right. The mountain can just disappear so quickly, or you can just have a sky that doesn't have the tones in it. So that's why I said in the video, we had that epic sky, lots of tonality. So we've got some texture up there. And then this simple frame, which that looks a bit green to me. So I'm just going to dial the magenta up there, and maybe slightly brighter. I haven't quite finished these edits, but you get the idea. Maybe the Command S to save. This is why it's good to come back with your fresh eyes as well, let it marinate. Thank you for watching the video, for supporting the channel. It's a lot of hard work keeping a YouTube channel going, especially at regular videos. So all your comments and shares and thumbs up, it just helps the channel to grow, and if the channel is growing, it just makes it more sustainable to keep publishing these videos and hopefully helping you and inspiring you with your photography. So thank you for that, and I just look forward to getting out there again, man. I'm itching to get out, so I might get out the Savo, and hopefully we'll film another video and bring it to you soon. If there's anything specific you want me to share or teach, let me know. Otherwise, this type of video is really probably what I enjoy the most, because I just get to do what I like to do and bring you guys along for the journey. So thank you so much for that. You're legends. I'll see you soon.